Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Tech Frenzy. In today's video, we have some SoFi news, some BMNR news, some crypto news in general, but we're going to be talking about a bunch of that sort of stuff. Probably starting with the SoFi news. I don't think I'm going to keep you guys waiting. I think we can probably launch right into it. But yeah, it was pretty exciting. Micron also put out their Q4 2025 earnings highlights, which was to not give anything away. No spoiler alerts, but they just smashed across the board. Okay, so hopefully some of you guys that own Micron were quite happy about the success of that earnings. If you're not, let me know. But it's not a company that I follow closely. But from what I saw from reading the report, that they beat on revenue, EPS, margins, operating margins, gross margins, operating expenses, next quarter guidance, everything. So, that's pretty exciting. Oh my gosh, you're on time. What's with the disrespect? We just started and we're already getting these types of allegations. I mean, come on. I'm always on time. For once I'm on time. Not true. Okay. I'm here. The people who watch after the live streams have already happened can attest that whenever they click start on the videos, I appear. And that's the important part. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, though, let's talk about some stocks. First up, I don't think we can go much further without talking about Zero Hash. So I did a video on this earlier today. I apologize if you guys have already seen that video, but we have to talk about it to some degree. Crypto startup Zero Hash raised $104 million at a $1 billion valuation and said that IBKR, Morgan Stanley, SoFi, Apollo Group, and many others were a part of that capital raise. Okay. They're going to use that capital to try to, increase product velocity, come out with new innovations, hire more staff, and go after more clientele. Now, what they actually do is potentially a new form of fintech, crypto as a service, enabling companies to start to offer crypto trading, stable coins, tokenization, on and off, or crypto on and off ramps, whole bunch of things all in the middle. Now, SoFi currently does not offer crypto. Okay. And up until the reports that came out today, neither did Morgan Stanley through E-Trade and all of these other companies. But now, after doing this deal with Zero Hash, they are potentially putting out new products. Morgan Stanley just announced 3 hours after this capital raise decision came out that they said, hey, we are actually going ahead with offering crypto trading. Hopefully we see something from SoFi as well, potentially by Q4, I think at most by Q1 of 2026. So that would be quite interesting. And yeah, I'm just so freaking excited that more and more institutions are buying into crypto. Okay. Or at least allowing their customers to buy into crypto. Now, this also got backed by a pretty interesting change here. Let me see if I can find it. Why is it not in my, it is in my notes. I just have too many things I want to talk about today. That there was a letter sent by lawmakers to the SEC to say, hey, Chairman Paul Atkins, you need to start, allowing customers to get access to alternative assets for their 401ks. Now, there's roughly like $10 trillion or something crazy like this in 401k, total money within Americans' 401ks that cannot currently buy crypto. The total market cap of cryptocurrency right now is $4 trillion. So just a small sliver of the Americans' 401k, balances going into cryptocurrency could lead to a large boost, as well as also allowing, with more investment like this with Zero Hash, allowing for more banks and brokerages to offer crypto trading. And we're not talking about small brokerages here. I mean, E-Trade, IBKR already deals with Zero Hash, but SoFi, all of these other ones, is going to lead to millions and millions of more investors to not obviously just have the ability to trade, but have the ease of it already being within their current brokerage where all of their money is. That's sort of the thing that I find a little bit interesting about not only these prediction markets and many of these different types of private equity investments and private credit investments. It's not that they haven't been available before, but it's about the ease of access, right? Allowing it to be purchased where those customers currently are at. And whether that's in the form of ETFs or crypto itself, that's up to the user to decide what is best for their own investment. But opening this up could lead to massive increases in overall crypto adoption. Currently, only 14, am I getting this correct? 14% of the adult population in America is actually holding on to crypto right now, with slight increases in people stating that they actually would be interested. 4% said they will be buying crypto in the near term. 17% saying they're intrigued but won't be buying soon, and then 60% saying they're never going to buy. Another 6% saying they've got no clue or an opinion on the matter. Now, the funny thing about the 60%, I feel like there is a larger amount of people that say, absolutely not, I'm not touching this. Like, at certain points, that was a lot of us. I was a absolute no-show for crypto until I learned a lot more, and then I became a believer. And that's the same thing for a Mid or Stephen Fiorillo or many of us, right? We've went through the journey of saying, I don't know what this is, I don't want to touch it. Then being force-fed that information, going, okay, well, there's actually something here. But, maybe Baba will end up changing his mind. Are you guys in that 60%? Or I assume that this audience is a little bit leaning more towards, willing to invest in crypto, leading like just based on the amount that we talk about it. And yeah, I'm sure it's a little bit of a biased group. BMNR is close enough. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not saying, I'm not saying it isn't, right? But yeah. What is the potential of BMNR? Alex, I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, the potential for Ethereum, like right now, it's like a $500 billion asset total. It's handling hundreds of billions, maybe a little bit more in terms of payments and overall tokenization of assets. Very, very small right now. The opportunity there is, almost 100 trillion, like 60, 70 trillion dollars worth of assets going on chain. So, obviously that utilization would pay gas fees and then return back in higher ETH prices. There's only, it's not a fixed supply the way that Bitcoin is a fixed supply, but there is only so much Ethereum. There is a built-in amount of inflation and buyback, and there's a possibility that the supply actually goes down. But like, if there's more buyers than there are sellers, then Ethereum will go up. If there's more people using it, if there's more people storing it, if there's more institutions using it for capital markets and all of these things, the price should go up inherently. But yeah, I don't like crypto. Makes no sense. Well, what are your questions about crypto? I see. To me, there's a big distinction between Bitcoin, which I can understand people's skepticism, and Ethereum. And I find that whenever you think about it like a technology, I mean, it's like saying Palantir doesn't make any sense or Microsoft doesn't make any sense. Like, what differentiates Visa's payment rails from MasterCard? Are you saying MasterCard doesn't make any sense? If there are new rails that payments can be had on and like money would prefer to flow through there because there'd be instant settlement and it's never been broken into. So the security is, batting 1,000 right now. Why wouldn't more payments flow over to stablecoins considering they run 24/7, 365? but the technology produces no cash flows in this scenario. Yes, it does. You pay for the system to run because you need to pay the, like the nodes to actually make and verify the transaction. So you have to pay for those transactions. Those transactions then go in to burn more Ethereum. It's like saying the US dollar makes no cash flows. But does the US dollar have ways that you can make money betting on a currency going up or down versus other currencies if it's utilized more? Yeah, of course you can. If Ethereum is going to go from being 1% of people's portfolios, and not just, when I say portfolio, I don't just mean investments. I mean just share of wallet, right? Like if I go to pay somebody internationally and that used to flow through, I don't know, Western Union, but now I just pay them directly with USDC or something like this, that increases the usage of Ethereum. The US dollar does not have cash flows, to be fair. That's why it's bad and no one holds it. To say no one holds US dollars is the most insane thing ever. Like it's like the most held thing in the world. like there's not anything that is more wanted than US dollars. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is sort of the yield on US dollars would be US treasuries, something like this. Ethereum is all of that is built in, right? So the staking rewards for users, there's a real yield, right? It's roughly around 3% right now. These have to be bots. No, I don't think that's true. I just think that not a lot of people look into, not a lot of people look into this type of thing, and so they have a ton of questions. I don't think that they're bots or, anything like this. So holding BMNR is like holding US dollars. I don't understand. No, but it's like holding a treasury company, right? It's like a company that is taking in something that they think is going to appreciate, almost like a foreign exchange or something along these lines. Like they want to acquire something that they think is going to appreciate over time. Okay, but I'm not necessarily defending BMNR. I find that's a much more complex strategy to understand than just Ethereum per se. When BMNR dividend, there could be a dividend. There absolutely could be, because there is staking rewards on Ethereum, which means that they do make net interest income. And this is how, honestly, I think about it. And this, like, I'm not here to make fun of anyone. Like, the problem with crypto and why some people just turn off and they don't want to listen to it is because one, it's like the internet in the very early 2000 eras, right? Where it's just the complete Wild West, and separating the actual good projects from people just going on their computer and creating a website like icanhascheeseburger.com, which was a real website. It probably still is, actually. But differentiating those was a really hard experience, right? Knowing which one was Google before it was Google was a hard experience. So I completely get why people turn off the want to learn about crypto, because you hear about the scams and you hear about all of these things, but it doesn't necessarily make that the entire experience is wrong. Like, just the idea of cryptography is just talking about the security. It's just how they make it completely transparent, and how they actually back by either staking or mathematics. Just the work is what separates, Ethereum versus Bitcoin. But I'm not defending Bitcoin. I find Bitcoin's a much harder concept to understand than Ethereum. Now, that is like potentially digital gold, okay? Bitcoin, right? Because there's only a fixed supply and it's worth what people say it's worth. And a bunch of people can say that for Bitcoin that like, oh, well, at least gold, you put it into, chips or phones or something like this. But like for the thousands of years where there was no electronics, that wasn't true. And yet gold still remained, very heavily valued. And it's mainly because of its, lack of tarnishability. Like it lasts forever, right? So that's the part that I think actually translates to Bitcoin, is that hopefully, even after everything's mined on Bitcoin, there's 21 million Bitcoin outstanding, it'll be worth what it's worth from today all the way, to the next generation. It's worth what people say it's worth is a dangerous game. That's for Bitcoin, though. So you don't want to try to understand me here. Okay? For Bitcoin, it's worth what people say it's worth. The same way that people say what a US dollar is worth, by the way. That happens many, many times over in history. Okay? Where I think Ethereum is a real technology. And it's a real technology the way Visa is a real technology, or the way Google search is a real technology, right? It's a transfer of information with a security layer. And it's faster, has faster settlement times. It creates wallets internally so people can, open up a bank account for free from anywhere as long as they have an internet connection. These things have real value. There's nothing else that can do that in the history, right? Like there's no other feasible product that allows you to create a wallet online. And I'm not talking about other cryptocurrencies, right? Because there have been ones that have come out since Ethereum. But and you can debate one chain versus another, but just to defend cryptocurrency in general, to be able to create a wallet, pay somebody, know 100% of the time, 100%, not 99.9, 100% of the time on Ethereum, that the money that's going to be transacted over, unless it, gets declined or something, is going to arrive in their wallet. Okay. It's going to be legitimized. It's going to be almost instantaneous, and it's going to cost you a very, very low amount. That's worth something. That's worth something, right? And what's that worth? That is what we should be talking about. Not whether it's a scam and that you're not going to touch it. It's what is a new payment rail worth? So, I agree with ETH is a real technology. I just don't understand how it produces value for investors, because if there's more people that have to hold it, because if you hold a form of Ethereum, and that could be US, like any form of stable coin, you are technically holding Ethereum, but just labeled differently. You're just holding a different asset under Ethereum's chain, which means if you have a dollar of USDC, you're actually holding a fraction of an actual Ethereum coin. And people like to hold US dollars. People like to hold, real money. So if capital markets and JP Morgan and Visa and MasterCard and all of these companies have all come out and said, hey, we want to use more crypto per day than we have previously, because now we're actually getting like the government's allowing us to do that. I understand being skeptical before the government has, not wanted to do this, but there's no one on the other side of this bill. It's like crypto is completely bipartisan. So even after Trump, what's going to stop crypto at this point? Well, I even think saying according to Tom Lee gives Tom Lee too much credit. I mean, according to the $500 billion, that's like Tom Lee is an extremely small part of Ethereum. Okay. According to the $500 billion asset, that's what people are saying is going to be the infrastructure of finance. And not just like finance is a very broad term, but it could be the infrastructure for information, for validating real information. How do you tell? This is another thing too. How can you tell if somebody is who they say they are online? Okay. Private companies do this on their own. You know, like Twitter can say, hey, you know what? We looked at his driver's license. We believe that is who they say they are, right? And even that could be more falsified than what Ethereum is. If the government comes out and says, this is our account, this is our wallet, you can tag this, it'll never change. And the posts that we put out, because Ethereum, the interesting part, it's not just money, right? You can tokenize, and you can tokenize a video. You can, like, it's a scriptable language essentially. Like you can put, you could make X, like the social media, on the blockchain. So you could go through and verify that posts are made from a specific individual, or videos are posted by me, and that they're not AI and it's not fake news. And that's what's going to have to happen, because soon we're going to get into an information age where we're going to have artificial intelligence or like AI videos that are coming out about Donald Trump saying, hey, you know what? This country is a threat to our organization, and that we are going to, destroy them or something like this, like make some drastic claim. But maybe Donald Trump never even said that. But artificial intelligence gets so good that no technology can differentiate between what is artificial intelligence and what actually is Donald Trump. There's no metadata that says that that's from artificial intelligence, unless that's built into the LLMs, unless OpenAI says anything that we produce, we're going to put a tag in there to say this was from OpenAI. But what if China creates a model and says, hey, we're not going to put in any metadata. We're just going to post a video and you're going to assume that it's Donald Trump. How can you know that that was real and how that was fake? That's where blockchain also comes in. So it's a form of identity on the internet that separates real people and allows them to post. And the White House is going to have, I believe this wholeheartedly. So it's just my stupid opinion, but I look into this quite often. I would suggest with high certainty that I'm going to be right on this, but obviously that's me verifying me. So like, I understand how stupid that sounds. But the White House is going to have an ETH address that guarantees that the post that is made from the White House are real and verified by the blockchain. Is that not just NFT adjacent? It's 100% an NFT. But this is the thing. NFTs are not bad. It got bad because that was the Wild West, and stupid images of rocks got millions of dollars. But it doesn't mean that something that is one of one and verified and is true is a bad thing that happened in the crypto space. NFTs are going to be huge. Just the artwork, the gallery of NFTs, I think, is stupid. Okay. The verifiable one of one is not stupid, because that's how you're going to know when the White House says something, when Russia says something, because in the age of artificial intelligence, we think right now that propaganda is bad right now. Wait until we have things that are able to spam Facebook with hundreds of millions of posts about, around elections and all of these things, and AI agents that are not created by OpenAI and not created by Gemini, but created by LLMs from adversarial governments like China or something like this. I'm not saying that China is going to do this, but I'm just, pointing to an adversary, let's say, that is just absolutely bombarding social media sites. That's scary. Okay. We already have a bot problem on X as it is, and they're just trying to siphon real from fake without these types of solutions. You can say NFT and that sounds bad, but that is how you're going to differentiate real from fake. No, AI is not. I don't think AI is going to destroy humanity. We're just going to put in, things that separate real from fake. That's all. We just need some form of identity online. And that doesn't mean that you can't have, people that don't want to post their face and everything, but what's like a famous account online that doesn't have someone's name to it, just like an online personality that's not connected to a human. But that person just needs to have that identity of, hey, this is the official parody account, or this is like, even that deserves its own verifiable identity. Yeah, they just need to change the name from NFT to something else. Yeah, but NFT is just, it's gotten a bad name. Like, nothing about a token is bad, and just the saying non-fungible just means it's irreplicable. There's a way to separate the fakes from the real ones. That's all it means. But it got so tarnished because people went insane and, bought a $69 or $70 million online digital art piece from Beeple or whatever. That's trash. I'm not supporting that at all. But that happened in the internet as well. Like trying to separate the Amazons from the pet.com or the pets.com was a real thing. Tokenized assets is 100% an NFT. 100%. It is being rebranded as tokenized assets. Yeah, stock market news is a good one. That's a great one. Like, we don't need to know. I'm not asking that. Well, he said his first name, or what we believe to be his first name, is Evan, but we don't need to know where he lives, what he looks like, anything like this. We just know that the information that he puts out is highly accurate because he's created that reputation for himself. And Twitter has created a verification thing online, like a blue check mark, to differentiate the real from fake. But there's a cheaper way to do that than pay $10 a month or whatever it is. It could cost, a fraction of a penny. And think about all the, what's another cool thing that I was just listening about? Like, think about all the new use cases of stablecoins. So this is another thing that I think is super interesting. One of the problems with Visa, MasterCard, Stripe, all of these different companies that deal in payments, they have no way to handle microtransactions. Okay. And so even whenever you're dealing with small dollar, transactions, like especially really, really cheap, Visa will have a fixed rate and then a percentage cut because they need that fixed rate in case someone charges a penny through, credit transactions. It just costs more in energy than it was for them to make a fraction of one single penny. But in stable coins, you can do that. Okay. You can verify, make sure that a transaction is not fraudulent, and send it across stablecoin rails that are, a penny. That's viable. Now, I don't need to talk just in a penny, but let's say, the New York Times or Reuters or something like this realizes that people are not actually going to buy their subscriptions are $20 a month, $30 a month for unlimited articles, because there is a fraction of the population that maybe goes to Reuters 3 times a month or 2 times a month. So they don't want to spend $20, but maybe they could do something like 30 cents, 50 cents an article, $1 an article. Maybe it's up to the writer's decision on how much they want to charge per reader. Okay. Stablecoins could allow for paywalls that, are microtransactions and would immediately, whenever going onto the internet, know your wallet. You could set up, hey, if there's an article that I want to read that has a payment that is below $1 per read, immediately verify that transaction. Okay. Up to this many. So then there's not like some bot farm that could, throw us off. There'll be security measures that will need to be built into this, but this is what's going to be built in the future of, AI. Cloudflare is trying to do this like crazy right now. Coinbase actually just put out this whole thing. Here, wait, let's go to Coinbase's thing. They're working with Cloudflare right now to try to not just verify humans, but verify AI agents that also have wallets connected to them. So if they are going to go scrape the internet, you could say, hey, you know what? For every website that you go that's at this, 402, well, not error, but like, what do you call it? Like, not an 402 address, but I don't know the correct terminology. But essentially, you could charge AI agents for visiting a certain website or paying a certain paywall and charge them, 5 cents per visit, 0.5 cents, something like this. And that there's no other way of doing this. You can't do this on Visa rails. You can't do this on MasterCard, but you could do this with cryptocurrency. And so Coinbase is really trying to work on this and sort of building the future of agentic commerce. How do you build a world where creators and people who are actually putting information into this world are still having viable jobs? So, yeah. Getting a little off topic here, but I'm just saying that the idea of, oh, you know what? I don't want anything to do with crypto. I don't want anything to do with these sort of things. Like, it's happening whether you like it or not. It's not that scary. It's just, another form of technology. Where were you before cell phones? Like, you're telling me people can see my location and I'm going to be carrying around a camera in my pocket my whole life? Yeah, right. Like, just think about how people would try to think of this previously. Absolutely. A camera that's connected at all times to the internet, no matter where I go with unlimited data. I would never carry that around. People do it. It's hard to find people that don't have smartphones now. Long story short, buy commerce. No, I just think that the two biggest technologies right now that's going to like change our world forever is artificial intelligence and blockchain technology. And also saying crypto, I think, is just a scary thing. But really, the idea is blockchain. I'm scared, but Tanner will help me through this. Yeah, I mean, I don't. If you're saying you don't carry a smartphone, you're the only person. You're on a Google product right now. They track every form, every ounce of internet activity that you have, and you're watching this YouTube video. So I don't even believe you, because they know you. They understand who you are. You have an account. You're not even using them anonymously. You're in the system. Scared money don't make money. It's very true. It's very true. This is not for everyone, but the idea of, like, get with the program type thing, like that's, I'm kind of on that. But I am very young, right? I understand it's harder as people get older of like, what are we doing now? I mean, things were good. Why do we have to keep changing? I get that, but we're changing. So, but incognito mode only changes your view. So then it deletes history for you. It doesn't delete history for Google. Google still very much tracks everything that you do in incognito mode. Sorry to tell you guys, but yeah. I'm watching this on Windows 98. Is DeFi a buy in your opinion? I don't understand what you're saying, Alex. You're going to have to break that down for me. DeFi actually scares me because to me, I just understand business and like, or well, at least I'm trying to understand business and ownership, and like, humans own those businesses. DeFi is just saying, hey, you know what? We can run the entire finance industry on an algorithm, and it's not controlled by anybody, and it can only be changed if everyone agrees upon it. All the stakeholders of, XYZ coin agree upon it. That scares me. But that's because I'm a capitalist. you know. Um, you can go to DuckDuckGo. Yeah, I mean, even those have, if I'm not mistaken, have already kind of been sold short, and they've kind of done things that they said they wouldn't do. But you're actively on YouTube, and you have a Google account, so I don't know what to tell you. You're commenting to me on my YouTube video using a Google account. DeFi is a way for saving capitalism from fiat money. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a way of saying cryptocurrency. My form is, or like the way that I think of it is like, um, well, I don't really know how to explain this, but like it removes the JP Morgans, the SoFis, the everyone from that transaction. It allows two people to potentially just do business with each other without a overarching company above it. As an equity investor, DeFi scares me. And then I also think about like, okay, well, yeah, maybe it's better for the consumer, but then where's the, consumer protection? Where's the insurance? And maybe that can be built in. I don't know. I don't look into DeFi too often, but will the United States what I really need a lot of the time whenever I'm looking into investing in things is like, is this going to be backed by regulators? Okay. This is why I always thought, like, you know what, Bitcoin's not going to do too well because it threatens the US dollar. But Ethereum defends the US dollar. So there's reasons for US lawmakers to want to push Ethereum. Like, now they seem to be supporting and pushing Bitcoin as well, which is great. But I always just worried with DeFi that like that's going to get lobbied out of existence. But it looks like so far it's doing fine. But yeah, and maybe you can't stop DeFi. I'm fully aware of the consequences of like, you know, this is a good point as well. I'll talk to that in a second. But what was I going to say? Yeah, maybe you can't stop people from using DeFi, and that's something to say as well. But then that's the part with the on and off ramps, which I think is really interesting. Of the government kind of only allows certain exchanges and will block certain wallets and certain identities from off ramping, and that's how they sort of govern those things on chain. The funny thing about cryptocurrency, for the most part, this used to be where all like hidden money and like dark web and all this stuff would like scary transactions would happen. Then people realize like, oh, especially in the world of AI, this is the most transparent form of money. And then there's what is it, like Monero and Tornado Cash. Like, I'm aware that there's things that people are looking into to still subvert that by like, splitting wallets into like 1,000 or multiple thousands of different wallets and then finding a new address where it comes together again. That's all like, that's not stuff I'm here to talk about. But then, yeah, Vroon said that DeFi is CeFi, meaning centralized exchange in a cloak. And that's also something that I think is quite interesting, is how many large companies are like, quote unquote, like getting in with DeFi. I think that that's quite interesting. I don't understand how it works, but the fact that they are supporting something that is to their negative essentially makes me think that they have ways of continuously making money and strengthening their brand through decentralized exchanges or decentralized finance. SoFi should add staking when it gets back into crypto. I absolutely think it will. And I think that this partnership with Zero Hash proves that, because they do have staking. They do have, tokenized assets and borrowing and all of these things. And if you guys saw my video, they even retweeted Data-Driven Investing saying that the Zero Hash partnership or the Zero Hash being, financed by SoFi is like a good sign that they're going to get back into crypto very, very soon. We're probably going to see a partnership announced. And they freaking said, or they freaking retweeted that. Like, they know SoFi is working with them on the back end. They eventually deleted the tweet, but we have the evidence. We screenshot it. So it's happening. Let's find that. For the people that didn't end up seeing this, I can just show you really quickly. Okay, here. So we don't have the actual tweet. I saved the link of it, but I didn't think that they were going to delete it. So I only have the link. It just leads me to, this post has been deleted, whatever. But this post from Data Driven Investing, where it says crypto trading and tokenized loans coming soon to SoFi via zero hash rails, seems very likely. And this is the verified account of Zero Hash. I can show you this here. This is their actual account. And if you have this golden check mark, which is an organization, they pay like $2,000 a month to have that. Or is it $1,000? It might be $1,000. That shows you that it's a square box rather than a circle. So it just separates organizations from individual people. So that's how you know that this was Zero Hash and not some random account that was trying to pose as Zero Hash. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much, guys, about a pullback on SoFi. I know some people, like, obviously, whenever a company is down or down for 2 days, that people can get very worried about the stock, and they go, "Oh my gosh, what about the zero hedge news? This was supposed to be good news. Why are we down 2%?" Relax, okay? We just took an unbelievable run up. We're up, 85% in the last 3 months. The market has jitters, okay? We don't, as long-term investors, react to the individual movements of these types of days, okay? Although the investment of Zero Hash was exciting, especially for us that are deep diving this company every single day, it doesn't really change much for the people that see the long-term vision. We knew crypto was coming regardless. How they get there, whether they are working with another company or doing this through Zero Hash or some other company in general, institutional money doesn't care, okay? They know that SoFi is looking out for its own interests, so they're going to find the company that has the lowest cost to serve SoFi with the highest amount of throughput and all those things. So if they chose a different company other than Zero Hash and went with some other payment rail, I would still believe that was in our best interest because that's the company that SoFi is working with. The good part about them working with Zero Hash is seeing the list of companies that also work with Zero Hash. We're talking, Stripe and Current and Moneyline and DraftKings and Kalshi and, IBKR and E-Trade and like it's all the largest financial names that are in similar spaces as SoFi. What's long-term? Do you mean my timeline for long-term, or are you specifically asking me what I think SoFi is long-term? Would you buy organic chicken if it's 20% cheaper? That's SoFi. I've never heard that example in my entire life. That's so funny. There might be something there. SoFi's up 259% on a 1-year basis. Interesting. Love it. It's been a good time to be a SoFi shareholder, that's for sure. Yeah, so we covered this article already at the beginning of the show. So if some people are getting in here that are confused on what I'm talking about, I can understand this. But yeah, Zero Hash ended up raising $104 million at a $1 billion valuation, and SoFi was a part of that round. We're taking a very minor equity stake in zero hash. Also, by the way, the amount of people, and I mean smart people online, that had the craziest takes on Nvidia yesterday blows me away. I mean, this idea that like, oh, Nvidia is giving OpenAI $100 billion. OpenAI gives Nvidia $100 billion. They give them chips. Hooray. Guys, they didn't just give them $100 billion. I can't believe the amount of people that just wrote that with zero concern. Like smart investors, people with, freaking practically millions of followers, talking about how this is just Nvidia giving them money to go back and buy more stock. When did equity not become a form of payment? Like you can buy entire businesses like Galileo or Technisys or, stuff like this. And they go like, oh, part of this deal we've done in cash, part of it we've done in stock. Sometimes they do an all stock deal. Why would that company get absorbed for absolutely zero payment if they're only taking equity? I mean, it's worth nothing. You don't think Nvidia can turn around and sell that $100 billion of OpenAI stock to another investor? Get real. Come on. I mean, it is the world's largest company with probably the fastest changing industry. I think I should probably see more comments about this. Of you still ranting about SoFi? I'd actually be like, all right, I understand. It's a small financial institution, $30 billion. I talk about it every day. Like, I rarely talk about Nvidia as one of the, fastest changing industries in the entire world. We're seeing, numbers pop up of different changes. Or like just unbelievable financing rounds. For example, OpenAI just said, hey, you know what we're spending all this money on? Here, let's pop this up really quick. You know what we're spending this money on? 5 new Stargate sites with Oracle and SoftBank, putting us ahead of schedule on that 10 gigawatt commitment we announced in January. Now, yeah, Ghibli art. Yeah. Right now it's Ghibli art, and I think that people are worried about that they're thinking about their use case for artificial intelligence, and they say, oh, you know what? Like how are you spending hundreds of billions of dollars on funny pictures and something that is just a little bit more useful than a Google search? Once artificial intelligence starts, solving math problems and curing cancers and stuff like this, I think there's going to be a little bit more in the urgency for spend in artificial intelligence than there is today. I just think that the people looking, if we're seeing ChatGPT 5, they have models that are, 3 generations ahead, that they are, looking at groundbreaking work right now. In that field, I'm sure that they see a much bigger view of what is possible for artificial intelligence, and that's why they're spending this much. Could this blow up in their face? Absolutely. Anything that has high capital, constraints or requirements can blow up in people's face. If they are spending today for something tomorrow, that can blow up in people's face. But the amount of money that these companies are making today is, that's very, very interesting. XAI has already built Stargates. It's not even remotely true. This is by far the biggest build out we've ever seen. I mean, like 10 gigawatts worth of data centers is like nothing even remotely comes close. It's an insane amount of energy demand. Yeah, the Sasquatch videos are going to be crazy. But that's why I'm telling you guys, we're going to need that blockchain to verify which videos are real and which videos aren't. I mean, this is the peanut butter and jelly sandwich of all trades. You invest in the security and in the verification, and then you invest in the actual, thing that's pushing technology forward. And out of those two investments, AI and blockchain, I really think, like, for me, I'm not telling you guys to do this. Not telling you guys to do this at all. For me, sell everything else. If it's not playing in those two industries, and that's what I sometimes I go through and I find a stock and I'm like, ooh, that's really interesting. Like that's underpriced right now. And maybe I could squeeze out, 30%, something like this. I see this in Duolingo and all of these things, but then I look and I'm like, man, these are such small problems. And the extremely large investors and like people like Elon or Masayoshi-san or some of these guys, like even if they have the solution to potentially small problems like banking, they won't even get into them because they're like, these are practically already solved, unless it's like we're fixing the energy problem or we're going multi-planetary or something like this. Like, Elon doesn't really want to touch it. And I think that that's really interesting. Is like the bets that I'm going to want to make on AI and blockchain. But, is there going to be a bubble that gets formed? Is there going to be a cooling off of some of these investments? Maybe the return doesn't happen as fast as we think it does. And then you end up going like all in just a little too early rather than DCAing in. So it's a mix of getting really excited, but also staying very calm. I'm all over the place right now, but this is like, yeah. What other companies does SoFi have stake in? Apex Fintech Solutions is one of them. What else? I'm not sure. I'd have to think on that. It's been a while since I talked about their minority stakes in different businesses. The funny thing about SoFi is they often don't do that. They usually just buy out the entire business. Buying the Amazon dip. Yeah, I mean, I most likely will end up buying Amazon. The exciting part about Amazon, I think they play the one of the most interesting roles out of all the changes that we do see, right? They're going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of artificial intelligence, cloud provider. So they're going to, also be expanding and getting into artificial intelligence that way. One of the main ways that they end up making money online is through payments. They're practically a payment ostracizer. So stable coins is going to greatly benefit their margins on their business. And they own the customer, right? So none of that's going to change for them. And then robotics and agentic AI, all of it's going to be very real for them. So I'm very happy about that company, and I'm not worried about. Still think Amazon will. But I've never thought this. You're describing Stephen Fiorillo's take. My take is that Nvidia will be the first $10 trillion company. Stephen Fiorillo thinks Amazon's going to be the first $10 trillion company. He just said that on my channel. It's not my take. Tanner, what are we calling blockchain investments? BM&R and so it doesn't necessarily need to be an equity. I'm more referring to Ethereum and those types of names, but it could be many different payment companies. BM&R definitely will be one of them, but I think that there will be many more spawned as time goes on. You know, like for me right now, it's payments and banking and stuff like this. Yeah. Nvidia has to get to 5 trillion first. Yeah. Yeah. But honestly, I think we should be there today. Like, I think that'll happen like soon. Who's Stephen Fiorillo? He's a guest of the channel. He comes on from time to time. He's the milkman. He's he's great. By the way, BMNR, like, we knew it was going to be rocky. We knew early on that this company is going to go up and down greatly, especially if you're selling equity to buy more Ethereum. Then during those large sales, you're going to have large sell-offs. So, in that regard, especially if Ethereum stays lower, I think we're at 4,200 right now, 4,165. That BMNR will have times where you can end up buying more stock, and I ended up buying more today. But yeah. Is he the Caucasian Steve? I mean, he is Caucasian. I don't know of another Steve on the channel. The Twitch mob. Yeah, we still got some people on Twitch. Future investing on Twitch. Some people say it's the place to be. But if you're here on YouTube, you know, that's fine too. I got a large SoFi long position in my SoFi investment account. I'm considering transferring it out to Charles Schwab so I can write covered calls. You think I should sit tight and wait for level 2? I think that you will have, well, level 2 is what SoFi offers right now. Level 1 options, which is what you're waiting for, is probably going to have or to happen in the next 3 months. They said Q3 or Q4. I'm a little sad that they most likely, unless they put it out in the next week, will have to move it to Q4. But yeah. Asian Steve is a MITS technical guy. Are you talking about Jason? Are you talking about Jason? I don't know of a technical analysis guy on a MITS channel named Steve, unless I just don't watch enough. The guy's name is Jason. Okay. Can you transfer without selling? Yeah, most times you can transfer in kind, which would allow you to transfer without selling. But I think that if you just wait a few more months, you most likely will get level 1 option. Asian Steve, meaning Jason. Oh, is he referred to as Asian Steve? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I just call people by their names. I didn't know we were doing that these days. Tanner, why did Nodo choose Bitcoin on ETH for their payments? I don't understand crypto, but seems like ETH is the clear... Oh, Bitcoin over Ethereum for their payments. I don't understand crypto, but seems like ETH is a clear, better option, in my opinion. Honestly, I don't know crypto well enough to know those technical differences. The Lightning Network... So whenever you think of Bitcoin as like a layer 1, yeah, that's terrible. I mean, the clock is every 10 minutes. Like, it's no good. But the Lightning Network speeds that up and makes things instantaneous, and the cost extremely low. I don't know the extremely technical levels of like, okay, how does, you know, USDC on base versus Bitcoin on the Lightning Network, how those differentiate, what's the cost of those. I'm sure SoFi's team has looked into it, but I don't know. Not sure. Zero Hash does work with Lightspark. Yeah, which makes me think that SoFi has known about Zero Hash for some time. Also, why they made, the minority stake to begin with. It's not like these deals are just coming on their table all day. Like, they're not known as a venture arm, right? They're like, so they must have been dealing with Zero Hash or talking with them for some time. The crypto hiring has been going on for some time. So yeah. Thoughts on Duolingo? I don't have many. I think maybe fundamentally they might grow and do well, but like honestly, DuoCon 2025 was a complete disappointment in my opinion. I don't know how you run an annual event and show off nearly like zero new news. They said, "Oh, by the way, we did a partnership with LinkedIn, so you can show your score to new people who are hiring you." Great. You could have done that as a press release. You could have done that in an email. I mean, that's not that cool. Like, that's something that Robinhood would just brush off. They would just add that and they wouldn't even say anything. They would just go, "Oh, yeah, by the way, we have Robinhood Ventures. We got a new ETF coming out." Like, after they've done an annual event. So, I don't know. We'll see. Do you own CSU? Only in my community portfolio. CSU is Constellation Software, right? Yeah. Zero Hash is interesting, founder-led, and very social CEO. Could be an interesting interview target. Yeah, maybe. I honestly, like, around people that don't know crypto, I can hold my own. Around people who know crypto, I'm a fish out of water. Honestly, I don't know crypto that well. But I don't need to. Sorry, I was joking. Duolingo sucks. Okay. All right. Well, gave my opinion anyway. Let's see here. Let's talk really quickly about SoFi actually introducing cryptocurrency, by the way. I'll do this by bringing up one of their competitors really quickly, and that is Robinhood. Now, Robinhood's very different, right? They are a brokerage. The high majority of the money that they actually end up making is from the buying and selling of stock. For SoFi, it's like 2% of everything they make is from SoFi Invest. It's very, very small. Okay. But that's also because, really, for the most part, people are going and buying extremely low cost, low take rate products. ETFs and equities and all of these things. Like, if we take a look here, for example, transaction based, let's go to page 15 here. Equities make up for by far the most volume on this platform. I think they showed this off somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, like equities is a huge percentage of the overall like notional volume on Robinhood. And then you look at the amount that it makes, it's just tiny. Okay. Then you have options, which makes up for a huge percentage. And then crypto, although a smaller percentage this last quarter, can make up for a large bulk of their earnings, depending on how hot cryptocurrency is from a retail trading perspective. And by the way, this is only really the buying and selling of cryptocurrency. This is not including staking, which they just unveiled, and then also like borrowing against crypto assets, like what SoFi would want to do inherently. This is not including stable coins or all these other payment ways of making more money on cryptocurrency. This is just the trading, the buying and selling of cryptocurrency, which is only going to be a factor of how big SoFi sees crypto in their business. That said, between level 1 options and crypto, we should see quite the advancement in how much money they make from SoFi Invest. Now, if Anthony Noto is very, very much an 80-20 type of CEO, or at least that's how I see him, right? If personal loans make all the money, that's where all the innovation is going to. That's where all the brain power is going to, because that's where they're making all their money. So although SoFi doesn't make it into the headlines all the time, they have incredible earnings growth, okay? Great margins and a ton of new users that no one seems to talk about. They grow users faster than Robinhood and have been for many, many quarters now, because they have a consistent customer acquisition cost. They don't worry about virality. They get customers that are going to spend a lifetime on SoFi, right? Fundamentally, that's extremely strong. But as they start to grow, crypto, level 1 options, all these things in SoFi Invest, that could be something that they end up spending a lot more time on, because they end up seeing a large increase in the amount of money that flows to a brand new product line. So although they're like, SoFi Invest has been around for some time and they have 3 million members or something like this, maybe a little less, which is a lot less than the 26 million that Robinhood has, the opportunity is still large as a percentage basis by adding in buying and selling of crypto, level 1 options, and then eventually, stable coins and staking and all of those things, which if you look to Coinbase can make up for a large percentage of their earnings. Evan, what's up, man? Used you as an example earlier today in the show. Just go back to minute 0, start from there. No, I'm kidding. Most of the SoFi ads that I see are for loans. Yeah, no, very true. Because that's where they make all their money, right? And I think that you're going to see a massive explosion in home loans, because that's the most profitable loan by far for them. Not currently, that's not where they make all their money, but whenever you look at just the financial market in general, having just the size of those overall loans and how long they're amortized out for, the lifetime value of a home loan is just insane. And then on top of that, it's, like I said, the largest total addressable market. So for personal loans, they make up already 15% of the personal loan market, of which is already existing. A lot of the loans that they've actually signed into SoFi are very much like Robinhood with options. A lot of the new people who have come into options were not in the options market before Robinhood brought them in. They are creating the total addressable market. SoFi, to a big extent, is creating the personal loan market, because they're consolidating credit cards into a type of personal loan that is so flexible that this is the first time in history where they've actually been able to truly consolidate personal or credit cards into personal loans, because of that same day funding, because of that, interest free to start, because of, the size of those personal loans and the great underwriting. Piyush, SoFi has been expanding its platform and its non-lending services are taking the pressure off of the lending segment. So true. Buy the dip for the community portfolio. Piyush, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate the super chat as always. And I'll buy some SoFi with that super chat. Thank you. I love Thinkorswim. Yeah, I'm sure for existing investors in these sort of things, SoFi Invest will not be able to compete right now. That might take some time. But for new investors that are using them for checking accounts, for lending products and everything like this, the SoFi Invest is a very easy transition. Secondary product, something like this, to put a little extra money that you would have had into a savings account into something that can sit there passively. It's trying to build it up into something real, but you need to give, crypto and level 1 options a try, because once it starts getting real investment, like real returns from that product, then Anthony Noto and team is going to feel like they can throw a lot of money behind it. Build it into something that looks competitive to Robinhood or Thinkorswim. Okay, let's see. I'm using SoFi Invest. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Paul says, what would the PE ratio be if SoFi hit their Q3 targets and the share price is at $30? I don't know what their Q3 targets would be right now. I don't even know. What is it, like 8 cents? I have no clue, actually. Let me go check that. Where am I going? Okay. Let me just switch this to quarterly EPS. Next quarter, 8 cents right now, with a high of 9 cents. Is that true? Yeah. No, high of 10 cents. Yeah, they would be replacing a 5-cent quarter with a potentially 7-cent or potentially an 8 to 10 cent quarter. I don't think it would change too much. You could easily do this. I just don't want to do this live. But just add up the last 12-month EPS and divide that out by the share price, and there you go. Okay. That's it? Yeah, that's it. Well, they're going to smoke 8 cents. Oh, dude, I think there's no analysts that are predicting for 2025. Actually, maybe there is. What's the high? Yeah, the high for 2025 is 35 cents. I think we're going to do like 38. So we could smoke the highest targets for 2025. Thank you for answering my crypto questions. Investing for Freedom. I don't know what your actual name is, but thank you so much for giving me those questions, because I think a lot of people have those questions, and I call people out by name, so I think it actually stops people from asking questions in chat. That's not what I try to do. I could absolutely be wrong, by the way. It's just how I see it. Okay. Sometimes I feel like I come off arrogant or something like this whenever I say I think SoFi is going to do better than Robinhood. I said this on the last call with Amit and Roy, and there were some comments like, oh, what, who made you the oracle? It's like, no one. But this is like, are you asking me for the facts? I don't have the facts of the future. I'm just giving you my opinion. So I really do appreciate your questions, because it allows me to articulate my beliefs. But at the end of the day, they're just beliefs. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just giving you guys my opinion. That's all. Okay. I'd rather you disagree than not. It's better to hear opposing points. Yeah, thank you. That's the way I think everyone should be. You're never going to learn just in our own ecosystem. So, yeah, that was another thing. Amit was like, yeah, well, why don't you just say SoFi can go to $100? Like, do I just give the people what they want if I don't believe it? Like, not a chance. I'm not going to do that. So yeah, I really do think that SoFi is going to get to $45 in the next 12 months. I back that with my own dollars by buying a lot more, between the prices of 21 and 24. I wish I bought all the way through the teens, but I didn't see what was going to happen in Q2, Q3, and beyond. I mean, SoFi's really accelerated their growth rates. They've improved on their execution from where I thought it would be. Okay. SoFi isn't going to 100. Yeah, selling tomorrow. Yeah. I think that it could get to $100 one day. I just don't know what that time frame is, and I'd rather be more cautious than not, right? Because then it also, if you start to really believe those extreme prices, then people start to write extremely aggressive options on it. And people need to remember, most options contracts expire worthless. You know, more often than not, people are more bullish than like realistic, if we will say this. So I tend to I'm an optimistic person, very much so. But I'm also, I don't want to get burnt. I don't want others to get burnt. So, try to give the base cases and enjoy the bull cases whenever they come in. Do you think SoFi can hit $50 before year end? This year end? No. I mean, is it possible? Yes. But do I think that? No. That's a long way to go for, like, what catalyst is coming out between then and now that we don't know about? It's not going to be Galileo. They keep saying Q1 of 2026. And by the way, that's been said 100 times. So the market should know that. Jay Powell has already talked about 3 rate cuts. What are we going to get 4? I mean, like, at some point it just gets scary at that. Like, there's 2 more meetings, 2 more cuts. That's perfectly normal and not going to scare anyone. 50 basis points usually leads to recession. The times that they give 50 basis points, other than just most recently, has usually been an indication of, like, really bad times. So, I just don't see how that's going to happen. Yeah, I said $45 in a year, like 12 months. Well, actually, what I actually mean is probably closer to 10 months, like 4 quarter prints. I want to see Q3, Q4, Q1, and Q2 come out, and then I think at that point, like Q2 of 2026 earnings release, that day, I think there's a very high chance that we see above $45. Because we beat and raise every time. And unlike with, buying options where there's like option decay, for holding equities, there's actually like time appreciation, just because, at that point we're going to have much higher earnings, much higher revenue, much higher user growth. It pays to just sit in a stock for a while. A stock that's growing. Hope all these data centers that are being built create good amount of jobs. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do covered calls on SoFi along the way. I've got $33 for this Friday. That will most likely expire worthless, which is great. That's what I want. And then I'll do it all over again. Now that we have hindsight, I hate how I let all the negative SoFi chatter stop me from averaging up. Yeah, that can be the hard part too, right? I also think that if you sit in this space enough, you just realize that, a good percentage of the market's always going to be wrong. That's what makes a market. Somebody who sold you a stock that goes up later had to, they were on the wrong side of history on selling a stock that goes up, or they needed the money for something. Like, maybe not all, sellers are bad. Most of the money that's actually sitting in stock markets right now actually have come from dividends. So it's from the earnings of the companies that have given you that money in return. That said, yeah, it's just part of the markets. There's going to be a ton of chatter. I put all my picks out like publicly. So I have people pick apart my SoFi and my Nvidia and my BMNR or like what have you, and it sucks, right? But I don't know. I think you just get thicker skin as time goes on. Tanner, are you selling weekly covered calls? No, it's honestly more bi-weekly. Every other week is sort of what I'm doing. But it's not like I stick to a like a script or something like this. It's sort of a feel it out kind of thing for me. I'm not very structured with it. Yeah. You lost me a bunch of money in BM&R, Tanner. Yeah, that's Evan's largest position, and he's gone very hard in it. So I don't know. Sucks to suck. Good thing you're absolutely loaded and you're going to be fine regardless. No, I think that these types of things go up over time. Or I think that it will go up over time. Do you pay attention and buy back the calls if there's a significant no, not really. I don't like I have not taken you mean like taking a majority of the winnings early if things fall really quickly? Not really. Yeah. Thoughts on BM&R? Are you buying more? Yeah, just bought more today. People lose their own money. Don't blame Tanner. Oh, he's not actually blaming me. Evan's just a good friend. He's just picking some fun. Rivian looks good today. I mean, is this your new name? I feel like it is because I saw your you pumping your own bags, Evan? What are you doing? I saw you have a conversation with Hamid today about Rivian. And now you tell me Rivian looks good. And we know Hamid's performances, so maybe that's a good name. But Hamid, the guy that runs Earnings Hub and Savvy Trader, the actual platform that we use to track the community portfolio, is like a unbelievable investor, by the way, for people that might not know that. And he's got a little stake in Rivian, so maybe that's something interesting for people. Because like Savvy Trader, I think doesn't even track options and covered calls and everything like this. It only tracks the change in equity pricing. And I think over like 5 years or so, I forget what the actual thing is, 4 or 5 years that he's been tracking his performance. He has like a 70% CAGR on his entire portfolio. That's only equity price changes. It's quite incredible. I've driven a Rivian and it's amazing, better than Tesla in my opinion, not close. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else. I blame Tanner for me taking the leap in Robinhood at 45. So upset with him. I took some profits. Well, congratulations, Steve. That's freaking awesome. And it was hard to buy at 45. That was a hard time to buy because it felt very, very euphoric because it went from 17 to 45 very quickly. So I know a lot of people who came to me at 45 that said, "Is this the top?" So to purchase at that time was a very hard time. So congratulations. What's called? Steve just called me today and said, "Dude, like, I know I shouldn't be saying this, but I'm using Robinhood now for prediction markets, and oh my God, it's amazing. And I was like, dude, I'm telling, like, you're just going to continue. So one, he didn't want to use it for anything. He thought it was a kid's platform. Then he ended up using it for crypto because it had better pricing. And now he's bringing over even more money to use it for prediction markets because it has spreads in the totals and everything like this. So I said, like, what are you going to buy the stock eventually? He's like, no. I was like, well, what about on a pullback? He goes, well, maybe. I'm like, dude, you're going to, I said I knew he would end up buying this name. I know he will because he's going to continuously use more and more of the platform. As B. Martin says, we got him. He got. He's in. He's done for. He's going to be a freaking Robinhood shareholder in no time. Does your SoFi $45 price target change if S&P 500 inclusion happens before then? Yeah, that's not included. I just think that's just based on earnings results and, shorts closing out their positions and a higher multiple based on more fee for service rather than, risk-based revenue. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them. Yep. Scatterbrain Steve. Well, I just think Steve is too black and white about things that, like, that's how I think I've been able to understand Steve, is that what comes out of his mouth is always black and white. Something is or it isn't. But the way he thinks can change so quick. So new earnings results come out, new products, new report comes out, and he'll go, he'll come to me and go, oh my gosh, Nvidia is so overrated. It's the most expensive company in the world. And then he'll see like a large deal come out from Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, and then call me and go, dude, I'm not invested in Nvidia enough. It's like, yeah, but in the first place, you shouldn't have said it was overvalued. You should have just said, I'm uncertain right here. But he won't say he's uncertain. He just says no or yes. But that's not to his, I don't even think that's a fault of his. He's a great investor. He has an unbelievable performance. But I'm just, I'm a little different that way. $2, App Lovin'. Yeah, App Lovin'. What's Steve's net worth? I've got no clue. Let's see here. I want Noto to get that $45 bonus. Yeah, I do too. But I don't know if he's actively trying to pursue it. I think he's just trying to pursue long-term, strength on the company. Oh my gosh. What is this tweet, bro? What the heck is this? Scam, bank run, fraud, says GM today. Who gave this dude a phone in prison? Now I think this is a top. This is how we know we're toppy right now. Sam Bankman-Fried is tweeting. Honestly, the top is in. That's how people get scared about cryptos. You worry about someone like him. How can he tweet for prison? Most likely it wasn't him. But yeah. Okay, let's see here. What was the Dread Pirate Roberts Silk Road guy? What was his name? One of the old crypto people will tell me. But He was tweeting the whole time that he was in prison until Donald Trump pardoned him. But it wasn't him tweeting; it was his wife on his account on behalf of him because of their phone calls and stuff. That Ross Albrecht, yeah, thank you, Albrecht, whatever it is, yeah, thank you. Albrecht, yeah, that's what I thought it was. I was like, that says Bright, but I'm pretty sure it's Brecht. Hi, Tanner. Do you own Adyen or have any thoughts on it? I think that they're the most expensive, by far, payments name in the entire space, but they also are by far the best. That said, I do not hold them, but anyone that says that they hold them, I'm like, ooh, that's an intelligent investor. You know, like I don't hold any Constellation software, but whenever I hear people say, oh, you know, I hold Constellation software, I'm like, it's a man of class, you know? That's someone that that likes looking into a good business. But I don't personally hold Constellation software outside of the community portfolio. Tanner, how does Ethereum affect payments like Shift4 and DLocal? Well, one of the interesting things is like, one, I think that those companies are going to take a take rate and manage those payments regardless. But also, most of the time that you still need fraud prevention and, you know, things like KYC and actual like understanding of the customers that you're actually dealing with, and that's actually where a lot of the money can come from in payments. So I still very much think that payments are going to be around for a long time. I think Visa and MasterCard will still survive, but just, you know, maybe the margins end up changing drastically. Stuff like this. You know, what the take rate will change, but also the operating costs will change greatly. But I still think payment companies will survive, especially a company like Shift4 right now, because I don't think that that's going to change for a really long time. I think card present transactions will be around for a long time. Tanner, are you doing any DD on Trade Desk? No, not right now. Any DLocal developments? No. No. Shareholder, bought a bunch, but I haven't been looking into it too much. I've been busy. What is a fair price to accumulate BMNR? I'm not sure. It's hard. I think it's less about price to me and more about the net asset value of the Ethereum. That's more how I'm looking at it. But yeah, it's probably the name that I've been looking into the most recently is BMNR, and I am acquiring it here. So what's a fair price to accumulate BMNR? I don't know, under 60 right now. Like, to answer it very directly, I'm buying it. Like, Jason said he'll be interested after you do your DD. Jason who? Paper gains on DLocal? Do you like air test systems? I don't really look into it. I believe in Roy's due diligence, but too small for me to care. My quant told me buy spot for BMNR is as close to 50 as possible. Or the buy spot for BMNR is as close to 50 as possible. Yeah, I believe that. Okay. We barely spoke about the articles that I wanted to talk about today. So one of them was Tether, by the way. So we've been talking about crypto, stable coins, everything like this. Tether supposedly is trying to raise $20 billion at a $500 billion valuation. This would make it the largest private company. Absolutely insanity. And boy, oh boy, could that be exciting. Company is looking to raise between $15 and $20 billion in exchange for roughly 3% stake through a private placement. Yeah. Wow. That's for they're multi-chain, Tether's multi-chain, but essentially Ethereum stable coins. If you're going to hold like the amount of money in money market funds and treasuries and all of these things, imagine that going on stable coins and a company like USD Tether, which is USDT, gathering a bunch of international dollars and putting that towards US treasuries and short-term credit, stuff like this, fixed income products, but that are really, really safe and short-term in nature. Yeah, I mean, it could be an unbelievably huge market. But Tether's also not a public business, so it's also hard for me to rationalize how worthwhile it is for them at a $500 billion valuation. Did you see ARK bought $5 million of shares, or they bought 5 million shares? I did not, clearly. Let me see here. No, I think you're pulling my leg. I don't think they did that. They did not do that. Don't listen. They sold Tempest AI and Roku. They bought Pony AI. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 5 million shares of SoFi would be exciting. I'm not going to ban you, but I should ban people for just actively posting nonsense in the chat. Going forward, if you guys do that, straight ban. We're looking for real DD here. SoFi yesterday, though. Okay, unban that guy. Evan, is that true? Evan, if they didn't buy yesterday, bro, you think because you're modded up because you got a wrench that I'm going to strip you of this wrench if I find out that that's not true. And I actually think, don't you run the ARK Invest tracker or something like this? Okay. This was from yesterday. Am I losing my mind? Am I reading the wrong report? Isn't this your report, Evan? Someone get that guy. The bans are going around, bro. To be fair, Kathy did buy some SoFi yesterday, though. I think that's what he meant. And then he hits me with an LOL. That is funny. That was good. You did get me. I got twice. I got twice. More officially. Okay. I can't even. Let's see what else. So aside from the OpenAI, Oracle, SoftBank stuff, we already talked about that. this actually, I saw some people talking about it today. It's older news, but that things that are sold on Walmart might start being delivered by Amazon Prime. I guess all that capital expenditures are working out. They've got an insane logistics network that even their biggest rival needs to partner with them. Very, very interesting. All of a sudden, I have hiccups. This part was also crazy. Speak about Google stock. Google admits that there was censorship under Biden's administration. I'm not here to make a political statement or anything along these lines. I'm not making a statement about this, but in the future, going forward, they will stop, supposedly, banning accounts for political speech that they were censoring for political speech. They are going to stop that. Personally, for me, if you want to think about this as from a capitalist perspective, okay, it is bad to take people off your platform, even if the advertisers do not want, or a percentage of the advertisers do not want their ads on those accounts. I get it. Okay. Maybe create a certain algorithm for certain types of people on your platform. But forcing people off your platform, which, creates competitors like Kick or Rumble or Blue Sky or anything along these lines, you're only creating competition that you you are creating the need for those competitors to exist. Like, necessity is the mother of invention. You created it. So don't ban people. Allow people to truly have the free speech or whatever that they want. Let them find their own audiences. And you won't have to, create that sort of problem. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the wrong. Maybe that creates a space for radicalization, more dangerous speech than, I don't know. I'm not here to make a political stance. I don't know. I'm just thinking not everyone that ended up going to Rumble was probably, or Blue Sky or whatever, was probably deserved to be banned. So I think that this is better for YouTube, is if they keep the monopoly that they currently have. Speaking of which, Tanner, did you look into military drones? No, I have not looked more into military drones. Yeah. PayPal? Honestly, I think this is like the number one stuff that I'm going to stop looking into is companies like PayPal. I mean, I hope big Kratos guy, I to some degree, I mean, I'm a shareholder. We've got it in the community portfolio along with Honeywell. Thank you, Evan. But going back to the comment about PayPal, I think as I focus more on the important problems with artificial intelligence and blockchain technology, PayPal is just not going to fit in that list. So even if it could be a return play, I think value plays and it's a distraction from the work that I'm actually good at. So no. Even if it's worth double from where it is. Yo, Tanner, how long are you planning on holding BMNR for? Honestly, I have zero idea. I've got no clue. I just think that their ability to acquire Ethereum is much faster than mine. And I think that it's pretty cheap comparatively to just buying Ethereum itself. If I can get that anywhere near 1 times the net asset value of Ethereum, and they're acquiring it like 10 times faster than I ever could, and that sounds like a deal to me. They're probably getting it cheaper than I could ever buy it. They're probably staking more than I ever could stake it for because they probably could create their own nodes and stuff like this. I can't do that. I don't have that institutional grade money. Ever look into TMDX? Not really. I understand to some degree what it is, the logistics of organs. And, but yeah, I mean, to some degree, maybe Amazon will do that one day. I'll find a percentage of my portfolio invested in healthcare and logistics through Amazon. Okay, let's see here. Tanner, you ever look into our Canadian energy companies? Not really, no. I mean, there was a time in my life where I had Enbridge, if that counts. But no. Tanner, what's your average on BM&R? I'd have to check, but it's probably somewhere around $46, $47. Yeah, I bought a decent amount whenever it was 45 and under, and I've just been buying a little bit more now at 55, but smaller purchases than what I bought before. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to go. Okay, I'm going to go eat. Expect more daily videos along with live streams, probably touching on other things other than just SoFi. Maybe I'll make a BM&R video here talking about more about what I see, show you guys the actual charts, stuff like this, that I've been lacking on from BM&R of what I am taking a look at, but not obviously showing to you guys on the live stream. So I want to do more of that. Remember, every Friday we have our Fiscal Friday shows. So that's going to be me breaking out a new company, taking a look at that and the potential opportunity of, finding a new name like DLocal, what we did before. I looked into a new name. I was so impressed by it that I ended up purchasing some of the shares for myself. That was through Fiscal AI. Okay. And if you guys want to support the channel, check out Fiscal AI. Use my link, By the way, they are very, very happy with this community. And I'm happy that we're not just like following the same echo chamber of investments a lot. You guys have a very, wide range of investments that I don't personally partake in, but that's great. We have our own things. That's what it should be about, is like us all finding different names, not just me telling you guys what I'm investing in, and some of you guys copy trade into that. I don't think that that's going to be a healthy community. I want some help from you guys too, finding some new names. That said, check out Fiscal AI to find some new names. Use that for some of your due diligence. There's a free trial if you guys want. All right, I've sold myself out. Bye for now.